Attention passionate Montreal, Canadiens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the Atlantic Division and it could shake up the entire conference. We're talking about a direct impact on Montreal Canadiens' path to another Stanley Cup run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Montreal Canadiens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Montreal, CANADINS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been following the Canadiens this offseason, you know that General Manager Kent Hughes and his team have been busy. They've made some impressive moves, bringing in players like Noah Dobson and Zachary Bolduc, which certainly signals their intent to build a competitive team for the upcoming season. But this is a big but there's still that lingering question. What about that crucial second-line center? Because we all know how important that role is, especially in today's NHL where depth down the middle can make or break your season. And here's where it gets interesting, because the Canadiens might just have an intriguing option still available, thanks to the Carolina Hurricanes, who, as it turns out, haven't re-signed one of their key players, Jack Rysavik. Yes, Jack Rysavik, a name you might have heard around the league, is still out there, and it's creating quite a buzz among Canadiens fans and insiders alike. Why? Because Rysavik, at 28 years old, is a versatile, talented center who could fill that second-line role quite effectively. He's 6'1", weighs nearly 200 pounds, and has a pretty impressive NHL resume. Drafted in the first round back in 2015 by the Winnipeg Jets, he's proven himself with 102 goals and a total of 260 points in 526 games. That's no small feat. Last season, with the Hurricanes, he managed to score 22 goals and added 17 assists, finishing with 39 points in 81 games. That's solid production, especially considering the Hurricanes' strong defensive system and the role he played within it. What makes Rysavik intriguing isn't just his numbers, but his offensive potential. Over the last few seasons, he's been producing at a pace that suggests he can be a consistent contributor. If we look at his production per 82 games, he's been averaging around 43 to 58 points, numbers that fit perfectly into what the Canadiens need. They've been searching for a second-line center who can chip in offensively, play smart hockey, and bring some versatility to their lineup. And honestly, Rysavik fits that mold. He's not a superstar yet, but with the right system and the right line mates, he could definitely be a player who helps drive Montreal's offense and adds depth down the middle. Now, let's talk about the context here. The Canadiens are in a bit of a rebuilding phase, but they're also keen on competing sooner rather than later. They've got promising young players like Zachary Bolduc, who, as you all know, has been making waves with his skill and hockey sense. And with players like Brendan Gallagher potentially being given new roles this season, the team is trying to find that perfect mix of youth and experience, of skill and grit. Bringing in a player like Rysavik could be a game-changer, especially as they wait for a young prospect like Michael Hage to develop and step into bigger responsibilities. But of course, nothing is guaranteed. The Hurricanes haven't re-signed Rysavik, which means he's a pending unrestricted free agent, and that gives the Canadiens a real opportunity to explore. The question is, what kind of price tag are we talking about? Because, let's be honest, if the cost is too high, it might not be worth it. But if the Canadiens can acquire him at a reasonable cap hit, it could be a move that pays dividends throughout the season. And it's not just speculation. Reports from insiders like John Shannon suggest that trades are likely to pick up steam in the NHL as the offseason winds down. We're entering a phase where teams are making strategic moves, and players like Rysavik are squarely in the crosshairs of those discussions. The possibility of him joining Montreal isn't just a rumor anymore. It's a real option that could materialize in the coming weeks, especially with the Canadiens looking to bolster their lineup without breaking the bank. Of course, there are some skeptics out there who might say, well, Rysavik isn't a home run, and that's a fair point. He's not a superstar, but he's a reliable, talented player who can bring a lot of value at the right price. And in the context of the Canadiens' current roster, which is full of young talent and promising prospects, adding someone like Rysavik could be the piece that helps push them over the edge. He could slot into that second-line center spot, play alongside talented wingers, and help Montreal generate more offense, especially on those key power plays and in tight games. As we look ahead to the season, the Canadiens' management will have to weigh their options carefully. Do they go all in on a player like Roslovic, or do they wait for other opportunities? The fact that they're still exploring this avenue suggests they see potential here. And with the team's recent moves, they're clearly trying to build a balanced, competitive lineup that can contend within the division and beyond. The Atlantic Division, as you all know, is tough. Teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning, Boston Bruins, and Toronto Maple Leafs are all vying for top spots. So Montreal needs to be sharp, strategic, and ready to pounce on the right opportunities. Now, shifting gears for a moment, it's also worth mentioning that the Canadiens are still in the process of integrating their new acquisitions and young players into the system. Bolduc, for example, is a rising star, and his development will be crucial for Montreal's future. Having a solid second-line center like Roslovic could really help accelerate that development because it provides stability and a proven offensive threat. That kind of depth is what separates good teams from playoff contenders, especially when injuries and unforeseen challenges come along during the grind of the season. And let's not forget the importance of chemistry. If Montreal manages to bring Roslovic into the fold, it'll be interesting to see how he meshes with the rest of the squad. Coaching staff will look at his style of play, his ability to adapt to the team system, and how well he can gel with the players around him. That chemistry, often underrated, can make all the difference in tight playoff races or even in securing home ice advantage. The Canadiens are building a team that's not just talented on paper but cohesive on the ice, and adding a player like Roslovic could enhance that cohesiveness. Now, for the fans watching, I know many of you are eagerly awaiting the next move. Whether this potential acquisition materializes or not, it's clear that Montreal is serious about competing. The front office isn't just sitting still. They're actively exploring options to make the team better, to push for a playoff spot, and maybe even challenge for a deep run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The offseason is always full of surprises, and this possibility of adding Jack Roslovic is one of those intriguing pieces that could tip the scales in Montreal's favor. So, as we keep an eye on how things develop, remember that the Canadiens are in a strategic phase. They're balancing their youth movement with veteran presence, trying to optimize their lineup for both immediate success and long-term growth. The potential signing of Roslovic could be a key part of that puzzle, offering both offensive upside and positional flexibility. Whether it happens now or later, it's an exciting time for Montreal fans who want to see their team rise back to prominence, and I, for one, can't wait to see how this story unfolds in the coming weeks. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Montreal Canadiens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And finally, my friends, it's your turn to chime in. What do you think about Jack Roslovic potentially joining the Canadiens? Do you see him as the perfect fit for that second-line center role, or do you think Montreal should pursue another option? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion really matters to us and to the future of the Canadiens. Remember, I'll be back very soon with more updates, more news, and more insights into what's next for your beloved Montreal Canadiens. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting this team every step of the way. Until then, take care, and let's hope this offseason keeps delivering more surprises.